Hey everyone, my name is Omar Mendez. I am one of the lab specialists. I will be talking about setting up the video aspect of today's lab. Um, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about our video camera. We're going to have our Sony camera with our tripod. This is a very important two equipments that we need for video. Having a tripod with us would definitely help out with keeping the shot very steady and also panning and tilting our shots so we're able to get those shots nice and clean. We also have a camera that has an SDI out, so we're able to send that signal to our switcher. This camera is also has HDMI out and has all these other connections that do come out. Is very you see this a lot in a lot of like documentary shows. Like if they were to do any documentary stories and stuff like this, is the camera that they use because they're very mobile and they're great to capture the content. So for today's setup, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to set up the camera. Sorry, set up the tripod, put the camera on top of it, and then show you some little quick functions about it. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and set up my tripod. As you can see, this is our nice tripod right here. This is a decent professional tripod. I'm just going to go ahead and open this sucker up. If it doesn't open all the way up, it's because there is a lock inside here. I don't know if you're able to see it because how tight it is, but there is a lock inside of here. And what I want to do is, so you just want to twist it to unlock it and open up the legs. Boom. As you can see, this tripod is not at a height that you want to interview anyone. This would be ideal to interview a little person, but we need to go ahead and interview somebody who is a decent height. So you want to spread the legs out, and you want to move, bring your tripod up. I always like to start from the bottom tab. You see right here, there's 3 of them, and there's an upper level. I always like to start from the bottom, so if I need to go up even higher, it makes it easier. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock my tripod. It goes here, it goes there, it goes there. I'm going to go ahead and lift it up, pull my legs, so, boom. And as you can see, the tripod is pretty much at the height for me, but say if I want to interview somebody who's a little bit taller, I want to go up even higher. So now, by us starting from the bottom leg and moving up, it makes it easier to go ahead and go up. So say if I want the tripod to be about right there, lock that in, we are good. This is a nice height for it. If I want to go even higher, say if I was at the highest level, I could bring this up, and now I am even higher. But when I'm up this high, then I would like to lock my leg so it does not shoot out. You can see it stops it from going out. And go ahead and unlock that right there. Bring this down just a tad bit. How about this? I'll bring it down to about right here. And then I will bring the inside. There we go. Cool. Oh. Look here and bring this down here. Cool. As you see, I didn't want to have a very wide stance for my tripod because say at a location that I'm at, maybe my floor plan is not that wide. Say there are chairs around. I can't be spread out as wide as I want it to be. Or say my floor plan's even smaller. Say you're on a podium or something like that, and you're sharing your space with all different cameras. You see that a lot of times with like a news gathering where they're doing like a press release or something like that, or they're talking to somebody. There's a lot of cameras. You can't just spread your legs out like that because then the next camera person is coming in might say something or knock you out. So we don't want that to happen. So you can make your base as tight as you can, but you want to make sure that's secure. Cool? So I'm just going to go ahead and just bring this up, open just a tad bit, about right there. Now I'm happy. All right. Certain tripods come with an arm. They usually will have 2 or 1. For today's lab, we just only need 1 arm. And how you could tell what's the back of the tripod would be this guy right here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this part right here tells you that this is the back of the tripod because that's where the arm goes, because you want to make sure you're behind it. You do not want to set the tripod like so, because that does not make it easy for you. You always want to try to make it easy. So I'm just going to go ahead, place this on the right-hand side because I'm right-handed. You could put this on the left-hand side if you're left-handed, or whichever side you want, whatever makes you feel comfortable. When you are the camera person, you want to make sure you set this up to whatever is easiest for you. Before I lock it in, I could bring it up, I could bring it down, I could twist it. I could do whatever, again, whatever makes me feel comfortable. I'm going to keep it about right there. This seems like a good size for me. And now my arm is set. The next thing I want to show you, let me turn this around so you guys can see this, are these two knobs. Do you see this? 1 and 2. This bottom knob right here lets me pan my tripod. And then the top one right here lets me tilt my tripod. All right? So I'm able to pan and tilt. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that in. So when they're locked, the arm does not move. If you were to put some weight into it, it will move, but then you're going to damage the gear inside here. We do not want that, okay? Now, if you look on the back part of the tripod, there are these gears. There's one right here, and there is another one right down here with numbers on it. Those numbers are like resistance, all right? The lower the number, the less resistance. The higher the number, stronger the resistance. If you were to ride a bike, you understand that completely. So right now, they're both set at number 1. Let me just get those right there. Boom. They're both set number 1. So meaning I could pan very smoothly and tilt very smoothly. There's no resistance, right? This would be ideal, like, say, for a sporting event. So if I wanted to follow, like, say, a speeding car, like a NASCAR, or if I were to watch golf and somebody were to hit the ball, boom, follow the action very smoothly. But this would not be ideal, say, for a walk and talk presentations. Think of like at a church, of the pastor or the priest or whoever's on stage is just walking and talking. You don't want to be super fast. So you might want to go ahead and make the resistance a little tighter. So I'm going to go to number 4 on each one. And I'm just picking that. And now it has some resistance, so it makes the panning very smoothly, right? Same with my tilt, very smoothly. I might have a stronger tilt, say if I were to do a fashion show and a model were to walk in and they stop and they do their twist, but now I'm able to pan top to bottom on them, while the person who is explaining their outfits, I'm able to show it. So they're like, oh, look at the shoes that he or she is wearing. Look at the outfit. Look at the hair. So I'm able to follow the action while they're doing that, so the people who are watching it are able to see it and not go like, whoop, really fast. So that is the pan and tilt on the camera, all right? The next thing I'm going to show you is this right here is our, lets us know if our tripod is balanced, right? So you can see our tripod is nice and set, but the head right here might not be level to the ground, right? You could adjust the legs to make sure that this bubble fits in the circle, perfectly in the circle. But that might take a bit. A really quick way to do so is underneath here, there's a knob, and you let go of this knob, and you're able to move this head, right? And all you just have to do now is just make sure that head, the bubble is in the center of the head right there. And now, this part right here is level. The legs might not be leveled, as you might see in your image, but the head is. Think of this technique would be ideal if you were a camera person here locally in Florida, and there's an incident that happened at the beach, right? And you're a cameraman. Do you think that sand's going to be nice and level? No. So, and you're not going to go out there and make sure everything is nice and leveled either. So you just put your tripod down and then level the head. Your tripod might be a little wonky, but as long as it's secure and the head is level, no one at home knows how you did that, you know? So you always want to make sure this is level, all right? The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to take our camera. I'm going to put the camera onto this tripod right here. As you can see, there's a little area that is open. This tripod has what is called a quick release plate. This plate right here matches this tripod. So this will be easy to snap in and snap out. Certain tripods slide in from the back, others snap in. This is a snap-in tripod. So when I go in, I'm going to go ahead and snap it in. You hear a click. I hope you guys heard that. All right, I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to go in, and it locks in. And I'm going to tilt it this way so that our camera person can see. This right here is our device to unlock it. So if I were to tilt forward and then tilt the camera to the side, it takes the camera out. When I go in, you will see it snap in. Boom. Now that's in. However, the camera's not really secure. I can actually move it forward and backwards. And the reasoning for this is I want to make sure that my camera is balanced onto this tripod. So say if this was a front-heavy camera, say there was a long lens and the tripod wants to tilt forward. So then what I'll do is I will slide this backwards to get the center of gravity in the center. So then it won't tilt forward. Or say I had a lot of stuff in the background like batteries and wireless receivers and stuff like that. Then I'll slide this forward to make sure the center of gravity is right here. So it keeps it from going back. But since this is a small camera and there's not that much weight either from the front and back, I'm just going to keep it in the center right there. So before you are ready to work, you see this knob right here? You always want to make sure this knob is locked in. So when you turn it, now the camera won't slide forward or backwards, okay? So now, if I were to pan this and tilt this up and down, you can see that the camera does not slide backwards or forwards. If I had this unlocked, and I'll show you what will happen, it wants to slide. And it will scare people. I know one time with me, I had that happen to me. I was working on a gig, and I forgot to lock that in, and when I were to tilt up, the camera would slide back, and I freaked out. It wasn't a good shot. We all laughed at it after the job was done. So you want to make sure that everything's all locked and secure when you're ready to go, all right? So now that this camera is ready to go, the next thing I need to do is run power. If you guys look on the back of this camera, you can see there's this yellow connection right there. That's where our connection for our camera is at. You can see there's a yellow pin right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that into there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and power our camera. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. On the Sony camera here, it has this option for DC out and charge. You want to make sure that the knob is on DC out because then it runs the power from the quad box to the camera. If you have it on charge, it's only want to charge the battery that it comes with it. So that means there will be no power going to the camera. You can't charge a battery and have the power at the same time. So you have to pick which one you're going to use, and we're going to put it onto DC out to make sure the power goes to the camera. As you can see, we have the DC in. Right over here, we have off, camera, and media. Off means off. Media, if I were to press the green button and slide it over, it wants to show what you recorded. So imagine, like on your cell phone, you record something, you hit play. So if we have, like, say, an SD card inside here, we're able to see what we filmed. If we go to the camera, it actually turns the camera on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let me see my screen. As you can see, here's the screen. And to put it away, you want to make sure the screen faces up and then it slides in. You do not want to bring it in with the screen facing down and goes in like that because you can see it's not flush to the actual camera. So you want to make sure that we keep it flush like so. The screen can actually aim down. Say if I were to interview somebody who's a lot taller than me and I want to make sure I have the nice shot, I could have this aimed down while it's looking straight into the person's face. You could also do a selfie mode if you are one of those awesome vloggers and you could talk into the camera. This is why this camera is very popular in like the documentary series and stuff like that, so people can see what they're filming. Everything's all built into it. What's really great about this camera is that it has a fixed lens in it, and this lens will let you zoom in and without you, adjusting, taking the lens out and all that kind of stuff. Everything's all built in. The main thing you need to know is there's a little knob right here. I don't know if the light can see it. It says open and close. Before you start using your camera, you want to make sure that you open your lens. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And now inside here, you can see my lens is open. I'm going to do it so you guys can see it. It's closed, and now it's open by using that little notch right there. So on the side of this camera, there are 3 rings. This first ring right here, it lets me deal with focus. So I'm going to aim this very quickly so you can see it. I'm going to go, you can see I'm just moving it. This is my focus. I'm going to aim this towards the camera person, and you can see it focusing and making it unfocus. Do you guys see that? Somewhat. Okay. The next ring, which I'm going to show you how it works, you can see it moving, zooming in and zooming out. You can see this little knob, right? Well, if you watch the actual image, you can see it zooming in and zooming out, right? So the last one, I don't know if you can see this, is our aperture. And there is a number that says 1.9 all the way to 16. Even there's a letter with the letter C for being closed. The aperture deals with light coming in. The lower the number, meaning more light will be able to come in, more detail. So if I wanted to, say, take a photo of something or film something, and I want them to be in focus, but I want the background to be blurry, I want a lower aperture. So that means more light will come in. But say if the person is a mover when they talk. So what will happen if you have that very low aperture, they'll be in focus, and as soon as they move forward, out of focus, in focus, out of focus. And you don't want that. That will give you a lot of difficult, you'd be constantly have to adjust your focus. So what I'll do is I'll move it up to, say, a 5.6. What that does, it breaks down that light. And when it does that, more things will be in focus. The iris is getting smaller. So when it's at 1.9, the iris is open up. Think of it as like your pupil, right? Your pupil is dilated, it's open. Well, a lot of light's coming in, everything's blurry. When the sun hits it, it gets really small, and then you're able, with this lens, you'll be able to, what's it called? A lot more things will be in focus. So I'm going to aim this towards the camera, and you will see the screen get darker to brighter. So you can see this is the iris. And this is how you can manipulate the iris of the eye of the camera to bring in light or less light and getting things to be in focus. So the 3 rings, again, I'm going to talk about them, is the focus, our servo, which is our zoom, and then our aperture. The last thing I'm going to show you on the camera is right here, this little button. I don't know if you're able to see it. Let me tilt up a little bit. It should say WB or WHTBAL, which is our white balance. You need to let the camera know what color temperature you're going to be working with. And you're going to learn this a little bit more in the lighting aspect of this lab. But when it comes to lighting, they deal with Kelvin. There's like a 32 Kelvin to 56 or even higher, right? How I like to explain this is, think of it like when you're driving late at night, you see the cars that have like the orange headlights and then the cars that have the blue headlights. Both of those lights are white, but one is a warmer white and the other one's a cooler white. The 32 Kelvin, which is like the amber orange light, is that warmer, and the LED blue light is that cool light, that 56K. So we need to let the camera know, are we more on this side of the lighting or are we more on that side of the lighting? Because if not, we could be looking really blue or really, really orange, right? So we need to let the camera know what color temperature we're working with. So it knows to make sure that everything looks nice and neat. Like these cameras right now, they're white balancing to the lights that we have on. So you're able to see a true tone color on me, all right? I'll show you more about the white balancing a little bit later in a different video, but I just wanted to get this camera set up. One more thing before we're done with this video is the back of the camera right here. You guys can see there's an SDI out. Like I told you earlier, that this camera has a lot of things that you could go out. You have SDI out, you have HDMI out, you have AV out, you have component out, right? So for the switcher that we're using, we need an SDI. So it's great having a camera like this that I don't have to have a converter and switching one thing to another, like say like a DSLR. Like a lot of those might have an SDI or an HDMI out, and you might need SDI. So with this, I could go SDI out from here and then connect it to my destination. So that's very important on this awesome camera right here. So this is how you set up the camera. We have our tripod, the camera, the power, and then understanding our lenses. So the next video that I will be showcasing you guys is setting up the switcher with this camera and setting out our displays and stuff like that.